All right. I would like to basically preface this by saying I was planning on doing the stream much earlier, but I came into across an issue where there was a person who I wasn't sure of their schedule. Um, I kind of was like, well, if I start doing it and then in the middle of it I get interrupted, that's going to be quite an issue. So I'm still not sure of their schedule, but I'm not going to, keep delaying this for the rest of the day because I said I'd do a Monday stream. We're going to do a Monday stream. So yesterday there was not a verbal altercation, but I'm going to do a video and it's going to be called Why the Last 6 Months Have Been Hell. And one of the things that I discussed in this video is that there are people who basically will try to override your opinion. Like they'll ask you, "Hey, do you like this?" And then you say no, and then they still do it anyway. But then they want you to think that your opinion still matters to them after they've shown that it doesn't via their actions they've taken that are in opposition to what you espoused. And this was pretty much something that occurred yesterday, where one of these people was upset over something that happened a couple of days ago, where I basically stated my discontent with them over not doing what I like. Again, I'm kind of not I'm dancing around saying what it is because I'm gonna explain it in the video. But when this person who got upset with my consistency was around a like-minded individual, they tried to psychoanalyze me. They said, "Oh well," and they're dumb enough to get in front of a camera and then and say this stuff. They're like, "Oh, if you notice, he likes the same things. He always gets the same food, and he always wears the same stuff." And I'm just thinking to myself, I would like for someone, because I got 5 people in here right now. I'd like for someone to articulate to me. Oh, now it's for the person left. But for someone to articulate to me how the hell it would be reasonably expected for me to just randomly start buying foods I don't know the taste of, I could dislike. And if I do dislike to the point of not finding it edible, I'll have felt as if I wasted my money. And it's really funny when I think about the critiques I've given some of the chicks for kind of being wishy-washy and all over the place. Quran says, so it is basically, I can't counter your point, so I will just call you a hypocrite. Yeah, no, Quran, me and this person got into a disagreement because they asked me if I wanted to keep something 2 years ago. And I said yes, on the basis that there was nothing wrong with it. And literally the only opposition mark that they had to getting rid of this thing was that it was old. Um, and this is just think of how ridiculous this is. We're going to take something that there's nothing wrong with, and we're going to say, well, because a certain number of years have passed, we're just now going to get rid of this. It still works. It works just as well as when we got it. Yeah, exactly. I had the same reaction. Again, I'm going to explain what it is in a few days. I got to write the script out for the video. But that was their argument. You know, they don't. He doesn't like change. It's like not if it's something that there's nothing wrong with. Like who wants to? There's a reason the saying, "If it isn't broke, don't fix it." People hate and love change. Yeah, but I'm saying that if the thing you're changing there was nothing wrong with, and the only argument you can, I mean, you love. Imagine if I block you one day and you're like, "Why did you block me?" I said, "Well, even though you didn't write anything offensive or do anything I personally dislike, I felt that since I had seen you in my chat for a long time, I needed some change." It's like, what? Quran, they literally admitted that the that there was nothing wrong with this thing. They just threw it out because they felt like it. And again, the source of opposition was the fact that I told them, "Do not mess with this. Leave this alone." And so when they're trying to get the replacement thing and they try to show it to me and I don't look at it, they act so surprised. I can't believe he doesn't want to see it. But I said, well, hell, if when I told you to keep this thing, you didn't care, and you showed that my opinion doesn't actually matter, then what incentive would I have to look at the new thing and espouse an opinion that you're also going to discard and not care about? You love, imagine if you tell me not to get rid of your toaster and I throw it out, and then I go to get you another one and you don't want to look at the new one, and then I go, I can't believe uh you love didn't want to look at the new toaster and give me his opinion. It's not as though I already proved I don't care about his opinion by getting rid of the first toaster that he liked and wanted to keep. And now I'm always in here trying to preach the holy gospel. Talking about, oh Lord. No, Envoy, I got critiqued for being consistent. I was very amazed by that. I do purposely not put up any like recordings but sometimes this stuff is so cartoony. I almost get why people think it's like a joke or a gag or something, because I've never seen this happen before. I always hear about, oh, this person changed on me, they're bipolar, all that stuff, and that's literally the opposite of me. There is no point to replacing it when the old stuff is already working. Well, that's exactly what I said. And when you consider that the thing they're trying to replace has now taken them half of a year to replace because of first them being really slow and then the virus after that, it just makes their decision to get rid of this thing that was already working seem even dumber. I told you I get all kind of little weird critiques. Like I wish I could just take all the comments, just collectively in real life and online, just like put them in like a little scrapbook and call it, I don't know, the BS confrontation or some kind of title, where they find all kind of reasons to be opposed to something I do or say, just cause. Oh, somebody sent me a message on Twitter. Let's see what they wrote. Critique for being consistent. That's weird. My internet crapped out. Who critiqued you? No, I'm not going to say who it was. I'm just going to say that it was. Hey, well, you remember the motel saga? It's a continuation of that. Again, I'll explain more about the situation in that video that's coming out soon. But this is impromptu because I didn't want to do another Dragon Ball video because I'm already doing one later this week. And politics has been kind of boring for like the last 2 or 3 months in the U.S. because all we do is talk about the virus and protesters. But they actually try. Envoy, the reason this is crazy is just if you heard the examples they were giving of how he has this thing about he likes stuff to stay the same, and then they mentioned that I get the same food. Like, who the hell would go? Like, I didn't know there was a certain number of times I could eat something. I have enjoyed your Dragon Ball videos. Would you consider perhaps doing other anime/manga? For example, we're both One Piece fans, so that's something you could do. Um, I mean, my biggest issue is just that I don't feel as comfortable. What's a good word for it? So I've mentioned before I've seen all of Dragon Ball. Uh, And I just think I give a lot more attention to its little parts of its story than with others. Usually, if I talk about a show or its characters, I want to at least see the whole thing and then critique the overall story. So that's my biggest aversion to doing any One Piece stuff. No, I've never seen anything like this before. You get critiqued for acting the same way repeatedly, for having a pattern. I remember when I was talking, I didn't, I never made a video about this, but I did mention a few times the one broad that gave me her number just to stop speaking to me the exact next day. And I remember I was really pissed off over that because of how just it's like a literal personification of what I said about how chicks change their minds like I change shirts. And it's just funny because I'm literally being basically lambasted for not doing the same thing as them. Apparently, it is. Being contradictory is good now. Like, I've never seen that before. They get mad that you actually are consistent. It's really insane. Jesus Christ. I swear. Also, if you can hear any little nonsense in the background, I apologize. But, you know, nobody has. That's one of the reasons I did that on the Patreon thing. I actually said the goal was like 2,000 or whatever to get away from all this little noise and hoopla because it's just stuff happening all around. Oh man, James finally reappeared. I've been waiting for him. I know he came over here with his pitchfork waiting for episode 41, which should come out at some point this week. Maybe by Thursday, maybe this weekend. One of those two. It's mostly done. I've got to edit it, and I got to put the last couple of touches on it and whatnot. Mm. Jealousy. No, they're mad that someone doesn't change their mind every 8 seconds. I'll be waiting. I could just picture it's like let's say I say it's coming out on Thursday, and he's like, "It's Thursday. Where's the damn episode?" He's got a pitchfork. Or just recruit a whole bunch of people just to come over and like spam the comment section. It's like you made us wait 6 months for 37, and now you're gonna make us wait 6 weeks for the next one for 41. Man, that wait between 36 and 37 was terrible. I want to make sure that never happens again. Because I really feel like an idiot when stuff like that happens because I got criticized for not giving by one of the VAs for not giving VAs a break or for being too hard on them, and I was told of how this will cause everyone to go away. And I guess maybe because of that critique, it sort of contributed to me being willing to wait months for this one person to do their lines until they eventually just stopped saying anything. I just said to hell with it and got somebody else. But that 6 month gap of where there's like I don't know if the person's gonna record the stuff, it's never gonna happen again. We're not gonna wait half a year for some clown to read a piece of paper. It's stupid. Again, I don't feel bad for waiting because I actually am consistent. I said if you communicate and articulate when you can do this, you can stay on it, regardless of not meeting some arbitrary deadline. But if you stop communicating, hit the bricks. And that's exactly what ended up happening. They decided to stop saying anything. So I decided to stop having them on my thing. What a nice system that is. We should flip flop from now on. That 6 month gap, I was thinking that you canceled it. Hey, what an episode to cancel on the one where they go home and you see him hold the noose around his neck. Oh, no, Envoy, no, 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 no. Hey, I'm gonna do the same thing that Mitt Romney did when they asked him if he was gonna run for president a third time. No, 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 no. Because I tried to touch that maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I got so much weird backlash. I just said to hell with it. Like that's not even my main thing, and I was getting more critiques for that than the stuff I'm actually interested in or interested in speaking more about. So you can keep that topic in the dustbin. If I did a video on that, I'd put it on DVD. Be a limited edition vid. Yeah, we're gonna flip flop from now on. Oh, you like going to Burger King? Well, today I like going to McDonald's. Oh, last week I wanted some Taco Bell. Well, now today I want Wiener Schnitzel. Oh, I said I wanted to get married and uh, have children within a union. Well, now I want some bastard kids and a broad that's going to put me on child support for the rest of my life. To hell with consistency. No, they got a they so the example I gave you of them throwing something that was mine out and then trying to get me another thing after I said I had no problem with the one I had before, which there was nothing wrong with whatsoever. That's what they did. And then they tried to show me the new one, and I looked away because I wasn't interested, you know. But that example I gave earlier of the toaster is verbatim what happened. They threw out something that there was nothing wrong with, that I said I wanted to keep, and then got upset when I said I didn't want to see the new one because my opinion doesn't matter. Clearly it doesn't. You wouldn't have thrown out something I said I wanted to keep if it did. My issue with it is how much of a talking point it's become, but I get, yeah, Envoy, there's just too much controversy around, like, just whenever you talk about stuff relating to a certain ethnic group and you don't say things that are explicitly uh aligned with what some other ones say, you get called all kind of weird, and I'm not in the mood. Mm, too much of a hassle. Elliot says just another day in the hood. My issue with it is how much of a talking point it's become, but I get your, oh, you're gonna spam that comment. What a terrific mod, spamming comments. That's his luxury. He gets to write things the same thing twice because it's doubly nice. I think that was the longest gap ever. 6 months. Jesus Christ. Like September to, it was like April. Holy hell. Yeah, I'm gonna go out of my way to make sure that doesn't occur again. Because my thing is like I said before, I don't believe it takes that long to read a script. And the main reason I don't is because I also record and it never has taken that long. So I said people are just lazy. That's why the one VA that was giving me all those troubles when this quarantine started and she was bored, all of a sudden she magically started getting faster with recording stuff. But it wasn't because she had less lines or anything. No, it was just bored. It's like, oh, I'm bored, so I guess I can now stop being a damn roadblock for this person's project. I can treat them like I would want to be treated at last. I can adhere to the golden rule. Thoughts on the upcoming 2020 elections? Should I send you all my videos or a playlist? I already said I'm not voting for Biden. I never met a rapist that I liked. So it'll probably be Green Party. I don't know, write somebody else in or something. People are just so bored to the point they don't have the energy to do anything. Yeah, but like that was a broad who literally just I don't know what's wrong with these people. Like you give them time to do stuff. You well, he's been accused of rape, you love. But he's been let me respond to Elliot's comment. You threw me off. I should ban you for that, for asking that question. Pull out my infinity gauntlet and go. And then that'll be the end of you. No, but Elliot, it was weird because she only started recording stuff regularly when the quarantine started because she was bored. She's like, well, I have nothing to do all day besides, I guess, play games. So I guess I'll record this thing. Yeah, Envoy's been silenced. He doesn't want to write anything else after spamming that comment. And, you know, it was kind of funny because the thing I complained about, admittedly, was a non-essential. But when I bring up the food thing, it's because they made a food comparison. They were like, "Oh, he eats at the same places over." It's like, but why would I spend money on food that I don't know if I like the taste of? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. That's why I said I want someone to articulate where that would make any rationale whatsoever. Like, who the hell goes to a grocery store and they're like, "I'm gonna now pick up this thing I've never seen before. Hope it tastes good." You know, I actually did that at one point earlier this year because I like honey mustard, and they had some kind of spicy mustard, and I was like, okay, well, you know, I like the other ones. Maybe this one tastes good. It didn't. And I was just like, damn it! The one time I tried something I've never had before, it tastes awful. That's why I don't do this usually. Oh my god. Yeah, yes, that's the one I got. Maybe it's the brand because I think I've had it before and didn't, and not that particular brand, but I've had spicy mustard before and it didn't taste like that. But that was a big disappointment. It's always good to try new things. I'm not saying it isn't, but I don't see where it's an issue if the thing that the person repeatedly uses, there's nothing wrong with. And again, put yourself in my position. You're using something that only is used by you, but somebody else has an issue with it. So if Elliot has a bicycle for, I don't know, 7 years, and it works just as good as when he first got it in 2013, and I go up to Elliot and I say, "Are you sure you want to keep this bike?" And he says, "Yes." What the hell? It's like, what? And then Elliot finds out I took his bike, threw it out, and I'm claiming I'm going to get him a new one. He's like, "Well, why did you throw out something that there was nothing wrong with, that you knew I didn't want you to get rid of, that only I ride and you have nothing to do with?" And I can't answer those questions, but I try to show him pictures of a new bike, and he looks away because his opinion does not matter. Because if it did, I wouldn't have gotten rid of the bike that he said he wanted to keep. You know, it's that same kind of thing where they're not affected by the choices that they make to mess with your stuff. Because I didn't ride his bike, there was nothing wrong with, and we know that to be fact. I am not going to be missing his bike, in the sense that whatever he got from having that particular thing, it's only going to affect him because he was the only one that used it. Mm. Like I said, some days I wake up wishing I had the virus, because at least then, if I died, I wouldn't have to see these people anymore. Some of the stuff they do is so damn ridiculous, and just where's the rope when you need it? Elliot's still gonna say it's always good to try new things. Mess with my condiments, you might catch these hands. If I have a Pokeball, I could probably catch it, a fairly decent way. Looks like you need to just cleanse people out of your life. It's unusual that these many people annoy you. I mean, as far as I don't like, what does that mean? Is there like a specific number of people that are supposed to annoy you? Well, Megumi decided to appear at last. We've all been waiting for him to cleanse. No, I got kind of a little weird. I mean, my thing is when you have the computer clowns, which are the chicks acting weird, and you've got the same maybe two or three people that just continuously get on your nerves in real life, and then you've got the employment situation. It's like a living in a slum digger exactly. It's the same couple of people over and over. Because I would love nothing more than to vanish, which is what I tried to do back in December. Private hell, absolutely, Elliot. And again, if I actually articulate all the little weird stuff that occurs, you know, it almost sounds like some out of a cartoon just from how insane it is. Like, imagine you're the only one that takes out the trash. You live with other people who can do the same thing. They all are physically able to do this, but it's only you that takes this stuff out. And this person says to you, "Oh, that's nothing." And then your response is, "Well, if it's nothing, then why don't you or the other person that lives here do it ever?" I mean, think about it. If something is really non-essential, shouldn't everybody be able to do it instead of one person? That's like me telling. That's like I live with Envoy and Slum Digger, and only Envoy washes the dishes. And I say to Envoy, "You just wash the dishes. That's nothing." And Envoy says, "Well, hell, if that's nothing, then why don't you or Slum Digger do it? If it's so insignificant, why can't all three of us do it instead of just me every single time?" Yes, Slum Digger, it's aggravating as hell because there will be days where you won't even be there, like at the house, and you'll just have people leaving all this stuff. Just like I remember, if I put up some of the pictures of just the amounts of trash these people leave behind, it's like really. And I remember once I just got fed up with it, where I just took out. It was like 5 or 6 bags. I took out three of them, left the other three there for the rest of the day because I just like it's too physically draining to have to put up with that every single day. Slum Digger says, "What's funny is they will let the trash get completely full, and even if it's overflowing, they won't touch it because yeah, it's the same thing over here." Man, I saw one person because a lot of people have trash cans outside. You take the bag from inside, put it outside. I've had people who will literally walk past the trash can outside to come inside and stick trash inside, like for me to take out. And I'm like, "You lazy bastard! Why can't you just take it to like you're literally coming in here and walking past? Oh my god!" So I said, I'm done. Not even gonna try to break this down any further. I've made my point. Restaurant pet peeve. I mean, look, I recognize that it's not necessarily an essential thing. I just don't understand why others can't do it sometimes. Like just a little bit. I'm serious. I don't even think if we were to take the last 8 or 9 months and every instance where the trash has been taken out, I don't think I could list more than maybe two times where it's actually been someone that wasn't me. And usually the trash can fills up maybe every day and a half. Like usually 2 days go by before there's a new bag you got to take out to the can because when you have multiple people living there and they all don't, nobody wants to actually go to the can itself. So I'm just saying that by itself not that big of a deal, but it's really strange that others can't be tempted to do it, especially if they're not physically impaired. Slim Digger said, "LOL, that's messed up." Yeah, there's a lot of messed up stuff that goes on over here, which again will be articulated in that video. This dude, just last week, me and him were having a VC, and he was like, "Oh, maybe the places aren't hiring you because of your videos." I'm like, "Sir, if you actually believe that's the case, when I was applying before any of the stuff, like I don't even know what video he's talking about, but they will just scrub and scrub. Like I'm so damn famous that all these random companies are like, that's Justin from YouTube. No." Like, are you kidding? But this is the reaching they have to do to convince themselves that this stuff makes any sense. I honestly have been enduring this nonsensical thing myself, like seriously, so much as even as taking down the bins or washing up. Yeah, they don't want to be bothered. So something I've been wondering, can they hear you talking about them, or do you wait till you have privacy, not trying to pry, just curious? Um, Usually if it's something directly referencing them, I just wait until I'm alone, or I try to not speak that loudly. So maybe that answers your question. Because they're here right now, but they're having some old conversation. All 98 employers watch your videos. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I heard from another 7-Eleven today, and I'm just like, will you people leave me alone? I applied to 31 of you 2 months ago, and you're just now sending me something back. And it's the same stupid message. We are currently filling up positions. Hurry up. These will be taken very quickly. And then you send them the email. You hear nothing back, but it's your fault because like they sent the message an hour before I responded. Was I supposed to send it the exact minute after? Yeah, it is. You know what? We need to do a excrement employers 3.5 where I just put. I don't think the emails have I know they have the date, but I don't think they have the timestamp where it's like an hour after they say, please urgently respond to this message. And then you respond. Why send emails to you about jobs when they aren't open? Well, they are open, but they're being weird because they're trying to make it seem as if the virus has caused stuff to basically, what's a good word for it? To be in limited supply, them to be hiring less people, but they were already doing this before the virus started. The same Ferris wheel. I'm gonna go to a carnival or some amusement park and just go on the Ferris wheel just like this. They send all these emails. I don't even like going to my email anymore. I just all I see are job applications where you don't hear anything back from the people that you send them to. It's like this is just a bitter memory. Yeah, all 98 employers watched my video. I'm just so famous, and I'm unaware of my notoriety. And it'll be funny if like the company CEO saw like one of the romance videos and they're like, we got to make sure we never hire this person. He makes me feel bad about my own internal struggles with women. Oh, I know, but you love it was already that's my point. It was already difficult, and now it's just been made even worse. But people are going to pretend like before this started it was easy when it wasn't. New people are probably doing it prematurely to get prepared for post lockdown. Oh yeah, yeah. They have I haven't really noticed that much of a difference in terms of how many people send me a message versus how many before the shutdown started. So I guess maybe that's true. I'm not entirely sure. I just wish they would actually schedule an interview instead of, sending the same dumb message over. Like it's literally verbatim the exact same thing, just like same thing, different day. They to such an extent that is that they should take when you go and like look for the phrase same thing, different day. You should have a screenshot of those two identical emails with the different dates on them next to each other. A used car salesman. What? I wonder where Kiran went. He just vanished. I was surprised to see him too. He's been leaving some amazing comments, like on the Wikipedia video. This article may only interest a specific audience the way it is written, because we all know that if you write John Cena's article just a little bit shorter, all these people that don't give a damn about wrestling are just gonna flock to it like crazy. Oh man, KFC was another place where they have. I'd say the best website to apply was probably Jack in the Box, because they let you apply for a bunch of them at once. Give me a second. No, this person came in here to scrub the floor down with this thing. That's why I had to turn the audio off. And between them dropping the thing they were using to scrub the floor down with, the person outside was talking at the highest possible volume. It was just lovely. It was like this nice little just embodiment of all of everything going wrong at once. Elliot put someone's eavesdropping, and he put Eve capital. Like after Eve comes in here, Adam's gonna show up too, and they're gonna talk about the Book of Genesis and whatnot. No, people really do try to use this online stuff as being like the complete end all be all for. And I guess what kills me is that the whole point of discussing this stuff is to, what's a good way to put it? If I would just come on here and say, "Oh, things suck," but I don't articulate why they're bad and why they're not deserved on my part, your understanding of why it sucks is very limited. Like even now, I'm not explicitly saying what exactly this person replaced, but I mean I am giving details about how it was after I said don't mess with it, and they went over my head anyways. Um, but even with those kind of details being used, you have these people who will say, "Oh, you could have done this or that." I'm just to help others realize the hard. Yeah, and with the hard truth, you have to give examples of stuff. Like I'm gonna probably end up doing a upload on the college situation and how that ended up just blowing up in my face, not because I didn't study, but because they wanted 12 grand. And the whole point of showing that is to say there was no realistic situation where I, as a single individual, could have given that school that much cash. I didn't even know McMahon said that. I could have sworn that was from a song I heard one time. Hey, Envoy, you saw the video where he gets William Regal to kiss his behind. But yeah, Elliot, it's much more difficult to articulate the problems with something if you don't if you leave it vague. Like when I was showing all the applications, I made the choice not to uh, hinder what specific companies they were because I didn't want people to go, well, maybe you're applying for something that's out of your league, but then they still did that anyway. I mean, you just can't win. They go out of their way to just make things difficult. No, it was just weird to see this person try to psychoanalyze me. He has this thing about liking the same thing. You damn right I do. If I like it because of its specific things and it being stable, I don't really see the problem with that being my personality trait. And you'll let all these bipolar people who will turn on you in 8 seconds get away with being the way that they are. But if I'm the way I am, all of a sudden it's an issue. It's funny when they just write off your job application saga on the virus when these companies actually was doing this long before the virus even surfaced. You can't win. Yeah, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if I didn't apply, they would say he's lazy. He doesn't want any of that. But then when you do apply, he must be doing it wrong. So I said it's just a big. It's like a big Montreal screw job. Like they just keep finding ways to make sure that you don't get what you're entitled to, depending on the amount of work you put in. Like I think if someone applies to 100+ places in less than a year, they're probably deserving of getting hired by somebody. But a lot of people will, they have this just world fallacy, so they try to basically make excuses for why a crappy situation is crappy, um, purposely to undercut whatever efforts you may have personally taken to undo it from being that way. And Megumi's over there laughing, and he says that he noticed that as well. It's just like Megumi with the school thing. I left because I didn't have a whole bunch of. What about construction? Could you get into that? I haven't really looked for those positions, admittedly. Um, I would think I would need some kind of background. Again, I'll look into it, but I'm just saying I haven't done any for that particular type of work. Let me read what Megumi was. I was responding to him, and then Elliot and his new comment threw me off. So I'm gonna ban Elliot in a few moments. He's gonna be punished for me not remembering what I was saying. Oh, Megumi, with the school thing, if you leave because you can't afford it, that's why you're always going to be working for $15 or less. But then if you stay in and you get a whole bunch of debt, you chose to get yourself in debt. You want back problems at 35. Hey, you love, why do you think I didn't look into that before now? That's the reason I was reluctant to look into that particular stuff. Yeah, Elliot, I'm just gonna be like, and that would be the end of you. I had this one conservative person who came on here, and they said they were a Trump supporter, and I was like, oh, I gotta get rid of you. And then I did the hand thing, and they put re because they knew I was joking, but it was like the way I was saying it also. Wikipedia was like that, where if you make an article, they'll say it's too short because like you don't like they'll complain about its size either way. But if it actually is kind of small, they'll say it's too small or too short to be its own page. Then if you start adding more to it, they say, "Oh, it's too long," because that's what they did to me the last time I tried to make a page on there. It would like the original thing was like I think 70,000 bytes, and they're like it's too short, and then you make it 140, it's too long. They always try to find any reason or absolute possible reason, just anything to blame you, especially when it concerns things when it's out of your control. Like really, well, they think I'm baby from GT. Megumi, I'm gonna be able to like with the broads, I can jump in their skin and they make them go on a date with me. I'm just gonna turn to this puddle. Imagine you see some broad on my channel. She's got like remember baby had like the little red lines on his eye. Why do teachers hate Wikipedia? Because it's not a reliable source, and the students are too non. Uh, what's a good word for it? They're not slick enough to just use the citations. Like if I read something on Wikipedia that someone cites from a book, I'm gonna cite the book, and they won't know the difference. This the kind of world we living in. Twilight Zone, more like. I've never seen somebody get mad that someone acts the same way. Elliot says no, Professor X. Yeah, I'm like, you will hire me. You will screw me. You will. I don't know. Told you that it just seems like all this stuff is basically blame the guy or blame the person no matter what. Like, look, if I never applied anywhere or if I only applied to maybe, I don't know, 10 places a year, okay, fine. Maybe you got like a little bit of a point. I could have done more, but it's like when it gets to when you start counting into the several dozens, are you really going to say that person didn't try? That's why I got as pissed off with the lady lacking logic as I did when she was trying to make it seem like there was something more I could have done with the school situation. Where it's like I'm 2 years out of high school. Why the hell would I have 12 grand? Like I don't know anyone that is 20 that has 12 grand. It's like just to give to a school. I don't. That's why a lot of times they get the involvement of parents and other relatives, and it's just when you don't have that kind of support, you get screwed. But I only made the decision to just say to hell with it after consulting with these people, and you've got this idiot who's never met any of these people saying there must have been something more you could do. Yeah, it is the system you love, but the problem is people would rather go after the individuals who don't control the system than the individuals who do control it. God, I'm so embarrassed. Just the fact I'm surrounded by people like this that actually think it's bad to to act one way, to have an actual personality that doesn't change. You love is saying vote. I mean, like I said, one of the reasons I was kind of pissed off Sanders didn't win is because it allows both Biden and Trump to not really talk about education. Like, if you listen to Trump's speeches, it's usually immigration, the economy. You don't really hear anything about school ever. Same thing with Biden. He he'll go to international issues, but more so he talks about the soul of America, some platitude crap. So I'm not going to see either of the candidates reflect my concerns. And Envoy says, to be honest, he's about to say something mean about me. I can already feel it. I'm just anticipating his horrid words. Because this is what Envoy does. He decides to ridicule me. It doesn't pertain to them or their base, so they don't care. Yeah, their base doesn't care. Like, that's my point. That when you have voters who have a serious issue like 1.5 trillion in student loan debt, and they don't care about that, then hey, we're screwed. I wouldn't be surprised if some sort of political sex scandal happens closer to election time, so they can get men and women warring against man. That gender war thing isn't even real. Elliot says the whole world don't care. Yeah, we're experiencing some interruptions and technical difficulties and all the other words you could use to describe complications. So I apologize. Yeah, that should be the last interruption. I hope so. Anyway, I don't know. Things just keep going all haywire. So I'm not even gonna bother making a prediction. I mean, Envoy, the scandals already happened. We got Tara Reid for Biden, along with some other not as notable chicks, and then for Trump, we've got Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal and all the rest of them. Yeah, that's true, but I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if a new one pops up. But a new one did pop up last year and the year before that. Hey, the only new thing we've seen during one of these elections was when they remember the grab 'em by the you know what tape. They dug up that 11-year-old tape for that election cycle. And then I remember every time it would get brought up, I would just get so annoyed because it's so old. And what was it? Hollywood Access held onto that thing for over 10 years. That was a sex scandal by itself. There were a couple of Republicans who actually renounced their endorsement of Trump over that. Not that it mattered. I was like, man, are you kidding me? This ancient tape, this tape that was recorded when I was in second grade, has now come back to haunt. Whatever. It's just, it was stupid. Oh, about the black female. Um, there's a theory that's being propagated by Secular Talk and Jordan Sheridan, and the rest of them, where Biden's going to pick a white woman as his running mate and then put a black woman on the Supreme Court, or try to anyway. So if he does that, you heard it from them before me. I don't think he's going to do that, but you know, that's their theory. Mm. And people seem tapped out and they're over there leaving. I was hoping, I guess maybe I didn't really have that consistent of a topic, but it's hard to talk about what these people did or said yesterday for like a whole hour or whatever. So I just kind of just started, going into more general ideas. Um, but again, I'll address this in full. 2016 is a carbon copy of 2020 in terms of politics. Yeah, definitely. Uh, you've got two candidates that have all these high disapproval ratings, and a big segment of the left that doesn't even want to vote in the election because Sanders got screwed over in the primary. It feels like it was all for nothing. Like, why even bother trying? I'm not even trying to do like that melancholy negative stuff, but it's like basic pattern recognition skills kicking in once again, where if they keep doing the same thing to you, why keep bothering to resist, or actually trying to make a difference? No, this year has been so horrible. Yeah, they vanished Megumi. I mean, it's cool. I'm about to end it anyway, so I can get to work on this Goku Black video. That's been long overdue. The life and times, I hope your living situation, employment situation, voice acting situation, and female situation all get solved by the good grace of God. Well, I need the employment situation to get solved to fix the living situation. And as much as I would not care to admit it, the VA situation and the female situation are optional. I don't need either one of those to survive. It would be nice if they fix themselves, but like I said, all of this stuff, I just can't help feeling responsible for it anymore, because all I did was, in my opinion, overextend myself. Like, when you give voice actors months to record stuff and then they want to just quit on you for the hell of it, when you talk to chicks for weeks or months and they want to friend zone you, and this is after they say they find you attractive or funny or smart or whatever other lie they tell this year. When you apply to over 100 jobs in 6 months and hear nothing back except thanks but no thanks, or some crap that doesn't go anywhere. uh, when you live with people who will throw your stuff out after you tell them not to throw it out, and then be surprised when you tell them your opinion doesn't matter. It's just it gets to be too much of a hassle occasionally. That's why I just get sick of it. And Austin decided he's going to be our sixth ranger, or was our 11th hour ranger show up at the last minute. Have you seen the new YouTube? Yeah, they made it to where on mobile, instead of it being at the end, it's like right in front of the recommended or the other videos. That's stupid. By the way, Dio, it's actually kind of funny you mentioned YouTube's changing stuff, because Jim Cornette mentioned that he's not on Twitter anymore because of the way that they change. Matter of fact, let me see if I can grab that clip. he mentioned that he's not on Twitter anymore because they changed the way that it looks. And it's funny because I remember when that changed.